Hey guys, welcome back or to the channel. This is Ada through Garage, and what you see before you is a lawnmower. Not that fancy, pretty basic. We're going to start off by inspecting it, and then we're going to remove the air filter. We'll see that it's alright, it's not full of gunk, and we'll move on to checking the spark plug. Pretty easy, you just remove the spark plug boot, which is attached to the ignition coil, and then we physically inspect it. We're just trying to see if there's anything wrong with it. Nothing at all, perfectly fine. We reinstall it, and now we're going to remove the top plastic cowling. That's just there for looks. And from here, we'll move the pull start casing, and we'll start looking at all the insides of the motor to see if it's proper. What we're looking at is the flywheel right now, making sure it spins properly, it's not wobbly or damaged at all. We're going to clean the outside of it, and we're going to clean the ignition coil itself, checking the fuel. We're going to remove this actual entire thing. Now the carburetor is actually built into the fuel tank. And now we're just looking over all the bits and bobs. So the carburetor is attached to the fuel tank, which is kind of cool. You have to take off the entire thing to actually get to the carburetor. So when your fuel tank is empty and it sucks air, you have to reprime the entire thing. So it's good to refuel often while you're mowing and still able to operate the engine so it doesn't completely run out of fuel. Taking a closer look at it all, and you can see what I'm talking about. Now we're going to be removing the fuel tank. One of the things that I've noticed in here is we're actually missing some of the nuts and bolts, and we're missing the lock washers and things. We're going to be replacing those when we reinstall the carburetor fuel tank. So we're cleaning everything off, just scrubbing it all down, all the gunk and everything that is just left on the carburetor fuel tank after years of use. At this point, we're going to use our driver on the lowest setting. You better to use a hand driver or screwdriver if you don't have one that has a low setting of torque to take off all the screws. Now in the sink itself, I have a catch, so if I do happen to lose any of the screws, they'll just drop into that catch, and then I'll be able to retrieve them without them going down the drain. So my setup works in this case. The next thing we're going to do is scrub the insides of the carburetor. We're going to clean out the jets and any other gunk that's on it, checking all the seals to make sure nothing has any cracks, rips, or tears, and that way it completes the seals when we come and put all this back together. Now this stuff is all fuel rated, and after 20 years of use, it's still pretty good. I was actually blown away by how good of condition this was. Now water is going to get into your fuel tank. You have to empty that out after. What I use to fix that problem is I got some paper towel, I shoved it all in there, dried it all up, and at that point it was good enough to be reinstalled. I'm here scrubbing everything down, with a toothbrush, and I do have another nylon brush there just to clean everything up. I do use the air compressor at the end under low pressure to blow out all the jets and the needles and everything, so that the carburetor itself is in good condition and free from anything in the journals or in the needles that were built up after all these years, like tar and varnish and stuff. You know how fuel is. And this is one of the reasons why I use premium fuel for the small engines. For the amount of time that they run and the amount of time that they sit, for me, it's just simple, easy, the extra couple bucks, and I'm a big fan of that. And some of my other engines, two-strokes and whatnot, actually use octane boosters. But now we're just reinstalling everything, and in doing so, making sure none of the seals are going to be impacted, cut, or scratched as we're putting it all together. So it's got to be nice and gentle. It does take a little bit of fiddling around. One thing you can do when you're taking it all apart is actually taking a picture of what it looks like before, so that when you put it together after, you know exactly how everything was and how everything should be. For me, I've worked on a lot of engines, so this kind of work is very easy. Now we're going to do the oil change. Now, I don't have a pump because mine seized, it broke, so I'm going to turn this thing sideways. Now, there's no fuel in the lawnmower itself, So that makes it very easy. And then at this point, I can reattach the oil nozzle and start filling it up. So once your oil is all settled, you test it. Make sure when you do, you check it and you tighten it all the way down so you get the full level. Make sure your lawnmower is at a level. And if you look right here, she's gorgeous. Next, we're going to add some fuel. And now it's time to add fuel. Start it. See how beastly this tuned-up lawnmower runs. First start. After it being completely apart, replace a bunch of hardware. Added a bunch of hardware. I'm checking to see if the prime works, and she is. So it's able to suck fuel and push it into the carb. There we go. This is compressed. Don't actually do this. What I'm talking about here is circumventing the safety of the lawnmower, the throttle, and or the shutoff, so that if you ever lost control of it, the mower would shut off. This is just so I can start the mower in this case. Reinstalling the air filter, which is just a sponge soaked in oil. This does a very good job and keeps the carburetor clean and clear of debris. I keep it loose in case I need to add fuel to make it easier to start. And we are done. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.